Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Hopkinton a lady that I met in a waiting room not long ago, and she was carrying out what are called dioramas. And they wait till you see them. A lot of you may have heard of them, a lot of you may not have, but it absolutely stunned me. Her name is Naama Commander, and she is a diorama creator. Welcome. I said it right. Okay. Your story is amazing. Before we show you all of her work, you came from Israel to the U.S. when you were 7 years old.
I made a pit stop in Montreal for 7 years, then moved out to California, got my undergraduate degree, and then I decided what better than to move from the Silicon Valley to Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, that's a big...
Clear, correct choice.
What brought you to Worcester?
Graduate school.
Where did you go to college? Two colleges you went to?
For undergrad, I went to UC Davis, which is up in Northern California. And then I decided that I really wanted to practice medicine and decided that I would like to be a nurse practitioner and came out here for a non-traditional nurse practitioner program.
So that's what you do?
Yeah, I'm a neurology-based nurse practitioner.
Are you in Worcester?
In Worcester. I'm currently not practicing, but I practiced for 10 years.
Have you been to UMass?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Correct.
That's where all of our doctors are. They're terrific out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really are. So that's what you're not right now. You're not doing it. You're sort of in between.
Correct. I took a little sabbatical to focus on myself and some art.
All right. We are going to show you some fun things. Choose what you would like to show first. Which one do you like? Well, can I show this?
Of course you can. Of course.
This is a diorama that she made. So far, it's my favorite. What is it?
So my goal with this was to use items that you might find on a shelf, but to create a mix of things that really kind of wouldn't usually see together, right? So the little miniature golden cello and an Egyptian Nefertiti figurine and certain items that I find at garage sales and various places and just kind of combine them together with this really rich pattern and colors that don't necessarily make sense together.
Oh, it's funky and it's fun, and I love the way you painted this, and then you make the squares.
So I did not paint the background. I use hand made paper for the background that comes from India. That's very rich in color, and I love their patterns.
So you could probably use, do you ever use, design paper that we have here for sale or anything like that?
Yeah, but I find that this particular paper is much more rich in color, and I have, my mother is an artist.
Yeah. Your mom is too?
She is.
What does she do? What kind?
Very large abstract paintings.
Abstract.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Rothko-esque.
No wonder you're artistic.
Well, as a child, that's what I remember with my mom, is just sitting with her and crafting. I wasn't necessarily pushed to be on the soccer team or on the volleyball team. Clearly, we're very sedentary people, and so I did a lot of arts and crafts, and that just has been a part of my world.
You did this last month.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
Some chasm opened up in my heart, my soul, and all of these dioramas came out. All of the dioramas, I have about 70 of them at home, and they were all created within a span of 2 months.
Where do you put them?
I have a studio in my house. They're all on the wall.
And you're over in Hopkinton.
Correct.
Can people visit your studio?
Absolutely.
Before we forget, how would they do that?
So the easiest way to reach me is via Instagram. My name on there is @Naama Commander. Additionally, you can reach me at Naama, which is Naama 82 @me.com, and just shoot me an email.
I've got to
I'm
see.
accessible.
I do want to come up because this has a little turtle. It has General Hospital on an old little TV. It has a Christmas
with the
plate.
ears.
Yeah, it has a Christmas plate
from 1975.
My God, a truck, a vase of flowers. My son would love the turtle. Oh, absolutely. Now, this is adorable. Can you get a hold of it? Describe what's in this one. A mushroom, a deer?
So one of the things that I really enjoy is using items that, not in this one in particular, but I like that the scale of the items don't match. So I'll have a person standing next to a cow that's obviously like 17 times larger than they are.
Yeah.
So the perspectives don't make sense sometimes, but that's really what I'm going for. This one is one of my more tame pieces where it kind of makes somewhat of sense. There's not really much going on, but it's still very whimsical, and it's cute, and it's pretty, and it just...
Whimsical. This is key with you.
Yeah.
Whimsical and fun and upbeat. This, if you have someone, especially in the hospital, maybe in hospice, going through chemo, see this girl. Because, and also they're cute presents for children. I could see, my son's little girl,
Yeah.
maybe as she gets older, she would probably love to see. And I was telling Naama that you leave it natural for now. You think you might paint them someday?
Certainly, and I do custom work as well.
Or you could make an order in for you.
Correct. So if someone says, I really love whales and I love ants, I can make, a whale standing next to an ant, and put them in some sort of natural setting that doesn't really make sense, but my goal is to make it look natural, to make it look like, there's supposed to be a whale next to an ant.
Where would you find an ant? Kill that ant. Oh, look. Okay, now, this one has, my God, a huge jackrabbit.
Right. So it has this huge rabbit that its proportions make no sense to me whatsoever.
I like it.
And I love that. I call it, the creepy rabbit. And then we have, a bear that's attacking up here, and a bird, and a little girl. And I find these things so charming. And some of these items that I use are probably older than I am. Like this bear looks very, very old. I found it at the Grafted Flea Market. And I like to reuse items. Additionally, I like to use items perhaps that people have emotional attachment to, and I can use them within this context instead of it just being in your house. It can be in an artful concept like this.
Well, you can imagine when I was sitting in that waiting room, and this gal comes out, Emma, and I could tell me, my God, that's a diorama, and I don't see people designing these days.
Yeah.
Only like in school, the kids would say, okay, get the cardboard. I think my
That's where
son
it
had
started for me.
Yeah.
My first memory of making my first diorama was, I believe, in third grade. I made a diorama of A Wrinkle in Time. We were reading Madeleine L'Engle, and I remember crafting the little brain, right? Because there's a character that's a brain. And I remember painting the walls, and I remember thinking, I love miniatures. I love anything and everything miniature. And this started out as a project that I made for, I'm an only child, and so for me, I don't have any brothers and sisters, hence no nieces or nephews. And my best friend gave birth to her first child in December. And when I got back from Israel from visiting, I said, I have to make her some nursery decor. And that's where it started. And I made a set for her, and then it just kind of...
I bet she flipped.
Yeah.
Did you bring it to her in the hospital or after she got home?
No, I had to ship it to her, unfortunately. I went to Israel for the birth.
She's in Israel. Okay.
Correct, yeah. I went to her birth, but then I came home and began working, and...
Look at this. Now, I would have thought, no, it's like this. There is a moose, which there's been in our front yard. There was a moose.
Oh, my gosh!
Years ago. Okay,
And
a
I
moose,
wanted
a bunny
to make
rabbit.
a pretty moose.
Look at this. Now, she just made this last month. 1, 2, 3. So, what is in then? We got a moose.
So you got a moose in there, and he's got, some flowers on him, and a little rabbit, and I believe, is it it's a Campbell's can of soup, because why not, and a candle.
Do you do workshops, Naama?
I don't do workshops, but I can. It's something that I've thought about. I used to have craft parties at my house.
So did I. Yeah, I used to do that too.
Just invite people, bring a bottle of wine, and have I usually had a theme and played some art games and very, kind of adult themed type stuff. And
that India print is in the back of this one.
Correct. Yeah, that's...
The moose has flowers on its antlers.
Yeah.
A lot of thought, to me, a lot of thought goes into it, or you just, I'm going to put that there.
So my way, yeah. So my way of doing it, I have this huge bowl full of all these little items that I find, because I like to see everything at once. And I start off the piece not knowing what I want to do. The first thing I do is I pick out the background, and then I kind of just go through my bowl and I pick out certain things that I think will look cute together. And sometimes that changes over time, but my goal is to make it a little bizarre. You know, I want people to look at it and go, huh.
That's what caught my attention. Even the grass that she has. I'm not talking pot. Jesus. God. That grass that you have in the pot, that is really cool. Do you use a special glue?
I use super glue sometimes, very rarely, because it doesn't dry well.
Yeah.
I use a glue gun. I use some jewelry glue. It just kind of depends on where the thing is placed.
I don't know how you get your hands in there to do it.
So I've realized now, I'm 36, that my hands can go for a certain amount of time and then the joints start to hurt.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of, tools that I use. And usually kind of, for this one, for example, it starts from the back. So the tree will come first and then the things come towards the front. And then, like the little bird, that was the last thing they went
Love
in.
that. The bird is on top of the moose.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
before we go any further, how can they reach you again?
Again, you can reach me at Naama Commander on Instagram, which is all just one word, NaamaCommander. Or you can reach me at my email, which is naama82@me.com.
All right, this is cool. You know the Energizer Bunny? Look what she did. She's got the background, a camel, the Energizer Bunny. What else? I can't see. I'm holding it up. What else?
Yeah,
is
so I love this because I had the camel there, and I knew I wanted the camel. I have a big affinity from camel, being from the Middle East. Funny thing, I've never seen a camel in Israel.
Well, go to Southwick Zoo. And you can ride it. My son was riding. I'll ride them. They're cool.
That's the funny part, is that, like, I've never ridden a camel in Israel, but I could ride one down the road for here.
Yeah.
Life is just great. The Energizer Bunny was actually a suggestion by my husband. Sometimes, he sits in the studio with me sometimes, and I'll just be out of ideas, and sometimes he can see things a little differently than me. And he goes, "Why'd you put the Energizer Bunny in there?"
Yeah.
I was like, perfect.
So you have a bucket full of fun things.
I do. It's this huge wooden bowl that I love. It's really long, and I can see all of my little trinkets, and I arranged it by size.
There's a dog, the camel,
Yep.
the Energizer Bunny,
Of course.
little plant thing sticking up.
that I make.
You make that.
Yeah, so I buy these little, they're straight, and I have a whole bunch of flowers, and I make the bouquets that you'll find in my pieces I make by hand. For example, here.
Oh, this one's cool.
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
That's a cowboy, right?
It is a cowboy. He's got pom-poms on his hat, because of course he does. But you can see the little basket with flowers, for example. I made that.
You made it.
Yes.
It looks like wires with little doodads on the top, maybe, or
They're actually dry. Those are actually real flowers that are dried and dyed, I believe.
Wow.
But yeah, one by one.
She made it last
in there.
month.
Yep. And there's a little prisoner in there, if you can.
And I
see
noticed
him.
you shellac.
So that one is actually that one I bought at TJ Maxx, for example. This is supposed to be a basket, and it had holders in there, and I just cut that off, and I was like, "This is the frame. It's not a basket."
Duck, a cowboy with pom-poms on his hat, mushrooms, trees, an angel, and a prisoner.
A little prisoner.
A prisoner in his stripes, a basket of flowers. These are mushrooms.
Yeah.
These are, if you like something unique in your home, communicative, something to talk about.
Yeah.
If it's up on your shelves or this type of thing, it's going to attract attention.
Yeah. That's one of my goals, is for someone to just really kind of look in there and find the little pieces and wonder, how do these go together and why?
And it takes you how long to do it?
It depends. It depends on the project. An hour, a couple hours.
That's it?
Yeah.
It looks like this would spend hours.
Yeah. Once I'm on a roll,
That's it, you're going.
I'm in there and I'm making dioramas.
Is TV in the background, or is it just you and the diorama?
It's generally me. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. There are certain comedians that I follow that I love. I love to listen to comedy in the background. And music. I'm about music.
You like, what's your favorite music?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I was a DJ in a past life.
Oh, I did that too in college.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the best. You're the coolest person at the party. But I really enjoy a variety of music. My only one that I'm really just not into is country music. I've never gotten into.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't either until, a little younger than you were. And I was in Brockton. And I'd already done radio in college. Now I wanted a talk show. I love radio talk. So I went into the station, just went in, talked to the manager, sat down and said, I'd like to have a talk show. Wow. Being a newbie, you take what you get.
Mm-hmm.
So I was put in charge of the 7 to midnight show for CW Music. I knew nothing about country western.
Yeah.
What I'd heard of it wasn't that impressive. By the time I finished doing that show, about a year later, I knew I knew the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was a whole new world. Not that I love it, but I get a kick out of it. I'll sit through it.
Yeah.
But, it was an experience.
Sure.
How long now have you been doing your dioramas? This is my favorite.
So this specific type of art, so I have a lot of different styles, and I've been an artist, I would say, for the majority of my life, I've always been working on something.
Yeah.
Specifically dioramas, it's only been a couple of months.
Months?
Yeah. Yeah, this specific type of art, it's been a couple of months, but I work a lot on detail. I love detail, and I like the non-traditional. I like putting things together that don't make sense, and I like making pieces that make people wonder.
Well, yeah. When I first saw this, she pulled this one out, and I'm like, wham! It's got the fun colors there, squares. Total opposite is a floral design behind it. Again, with the Queen Nefertiti, right,
Correct.
or whatever, the flower pot, Christmas thing, old hospital, old General Hospital, like with sign on a TV.
And that TV is an old, dollhouse prop that is certainly older than me. You can tell it's been weathered, and I love these little memorial plates that I find.
Salem, Mass?
Yeah. Or
no, Illinois.
Illinois. I have some from Florida. I have all these little ones. So, certainly if you're looking for something that is custom, I can certainly make that.
So, like, in other words, somebody would come to you, they say, well, what does she mean by custom? What would you say? What is it you like?
So, for example, your father's turning 50, and he went to Notre Dame, but he grew up in California, and he loves turtles. I can make all those three happen in one piece of art, and you that's what I like doing. I like being able to create custom pieces for people. These are just custom Naama's brain pieces. But I can certainly customize any project and make it to your liking.
Now, you aren't appearing yet at any craft fairs, right?
I'm not quite yet.
You got it, right.
I got to branch out. I've been kind of in my studio, making weird dioramas. I gotta get out there.
Now, you've got 70 in your studio, 70 dioramas, different size. What's the biggest size you have?
The biggest size I have is, I believe, this one and the one where the cowboy is are some of the biggest ones I have.
Okay, so like this would be about one of the biggest ones.
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Correct. But size is not an issue. I can go all the way down to. I really enjoy making just really really tiny ones because the smaller it is, the more I'm like obsessed with it.
So you could buy a bunch of these and have them all on your display.
They look, so the way that I have them in my studio is I'll have like 10 of them all together, and it looks so cute because each one tells a story, but there's so many of them. So I'll catch myself just standing there and like looking at each one and reminding myself the thought process that went through making each one.
You painted the background on this little
This one I painted the background.
How do you get, I mean, I don't know if I'm not clumsy, but I'm thinking, how would I get my hands, which aren't big, into this thing? You'd use tweezers?
I use tweezers, but the nice thing about using a glue gun is that it dries super fast. And so I'll use a tiny bit of glue and just put it there.
And that's it.
And it's good. It's set.
But what, and with a glue gun, I stopped using it. I hate those strings, and then they get on my fingers and they burn.
The strings are the bane of my existence.
How do you get rid of it?
You don't. You live with it.
And so wouldn't Gorilla Glue be better?
Yes, but Gorilla Glue expands. Gorilla Glue, when it's exposed to oxygen, so Gorilla Glue is technically supposed to be between like two pieces of wood or something that's covering the entirety of the glue with a clamp. Mm-hmm. And I've learned this through many, many trials of using Gorilla Glue, is that when it's exposed to oxygen, it bubbles and it expands. So using Gorilla Glue, the original formula of the Gorilla Glue, wouldn't work for this because it would change
the delicacy of this.
Correct. And I try, there's some pieces, obviously the glue shows sometimes, but I try to cover everything up and make it look as natural as possible. And I love nature. Everything is kind of centered around nature and trees.
And you and your husband go to flea markets? Mm-hmm. Have you been up to Brimfield?
Of course. Brimfield is like,
You really like the, I think we went there. I'm not sure where we went. It was
overwhelming.
There's a big one. Now, the Grafton Flea Market has changed over the years.
I imagine it has.
When's the last time you were there?
So we were actually there a couple weeks ago. There's a couple of stores inside.
Inside? Oh, yeah, if you go in the building.
In the building, that specialize, all they have is miniatures.
What?
Old miniatures. That's all they have, like little games and miniatures, and you can tell they've been there for years.
But do they cost a lot?
They actually don't, compared to something that I would buy new, which I don't want to do. I'm always looking for secondhand items.
Yeah.
One of my passions is to try and avoid purchasing new items unless I really have to. And so it's really nice to be able to use, especially like if you have little doodads around your house and you're like, what do I do with this stuff? Mm-hmm. I can incorporate it into a piece of art. So my acquaintance said, I have this piece that my daughter used to play with. She doesn't play with it anymore. I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to throw it out, but I also don't want it just laying around in a box somewhere. And I said, let's turn it into a diorama. For her daughter. For her daughter.
How old is her daughter now?
Her daughter is 19, but she, it's going to be in her daughter's old room in the house. And it's a cute little rabbit with a raincoat on. And I incorporated it into a diorama. And it's a way to preserve.
We are talking with Naama Commander.
Correct.
And she makes these gorgeous little dioramas that are full of fancy, whimsical, keeps you guessing when you look at them. Extremely, the type of thing I love, imaginative. You can order what you'd like if you have like little preferences. I happen to, let's say, I like seals, Naama. Can you do something with little seals or something? There's nothing you can't do, right?
That's right. That's right.
How do they get a hold of you?
So you can reach me on Instagram, which is at Naama Commander, NAAMACOMMANDER, all lowercase. Or you can reach my email at naama82@me.com.
If a couple's having a new baby, and you've got little kids at home, what cool presents would this make?
So my only disclaimer is that all of my pieces come with small choking hazard type pieces. These are not toys. Yeah. This is not appropriate for children, but for visual purposes, let's say you have a nautical themed nursery. I can certainly make something with whales or all kinds of different things, like little lighthouses, things like that. I tend to stick more to natural kind of non-aquatic environments, but I'm working on a diorama now for a friend that actually just had a baby, and her nursery theme is aqua. So I'm doing a water themed one where I have starfish and whales and seals, and I put a net in there, and so I can really kind of adjust my my abilities to to work with anything. But I just prefer green. Green is my favorite color, and I love trees.
You love green. My
I love
grandmother loved
greenery.
green.
Yeah.
I love purple, yellow, black, silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. Now, we've got just a couple more minutes left. Is the price, what would you say would the price like for this would be? Just as an example.
So, for example, that one would be about $30.
Okay.
I think I do put in a lot of thought and effort into these items. I have to admit it's a little bit awkward for me to monetize my art, just because my art thus far has been personalized. Most of the pieces that I've made in the past, before this chasm opened and all these dioramas popped out, has been very person specific. So while I'm working on a piece of art, I generally like to think about the person and what they're going to think about it and what they're desiring. So the prices do range. Certainly custom pieces will be a little bit more, but just because of sourcing of materials, if you want something specific.
Well, how are people finding you? Again, how are they finding you?
So Instagram is actually really big. I know that there might be a little bit of a generational thing. I know a lot of people are not on Instagram, but Instagram is by far becoming more popular than Facebook and all of these social media platforms, and so it's really easy to reach me there.
But it's okay, but you getting out there in person. I don't think I've ever been to a craft fair and seen this.
This is true. I have not yet enrolled in any craft fairs. Additionally, I'm working on establishing my Etsy store. So Etsy is a website where you can go and find custom handmade pieces. And so currently I'm just taking some professional photographs of my pieces and putting it out there.
Naama Commander, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
What a cool thing to do.
Thank you for
be sure
featuring me.
Get in touch with her, and she can do a personal one, a gift or whatever.
Yeah.
And you right now you're doing the online social thing.
Correct.
Okay. You think you'll ever go face to face with people? Out in person?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You've got the personality for it.
Thank you very much. I've been a little bit of a hermit, but I gotta get out there. I know.
All right. Well, she's terrific. We got to have her back again. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank
She's
you
in
very
Hopkinton.
much.
If you live around this area, that's not far. If you're from out of the state, out of the country, you can still reach her on what she gave you for the information. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next
Thank
time.
you.
Maybe my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream.